Today on the show, Radical Ones, we take to the street with 1994's Street Fighter the movie as we continue our video game summer.
Colonel, are you alright?
I'm okay. I'm just half dead.
It's time to get radical.
It has begun!
This is where I start to have fun.
Well, excuse me, princess.
My name is Alice. I work for the Umbrella Corporation.
The day Bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
Fatality.
Shadow Demon, you shall not pass.
Hey, paisanos, it's the Super Mario Brothers Super Show!
Finish him.
Welcome back, Radical Ones, to another episode of the Radical Retro Rewind podcast. As always, I am your host, Radical Ryan Hunter, here with Rob, the movie geek himself, for another episode of our video game summer. Hello, Rob.
Hi, Ryan. How are you?
I am good, but I'm extra good, Rob, because we got a review after a year. Rob, this is amazing. This is amazing. We had been asking for reviews.
And during Pride Month, they waited until Pride Month to give us a review. Thank you for that.
Yeah. So this is from Lola P92, whoever you are out there, thank you so much. It's entitled Retro Refreshing. Ooh, I love that. I love the refreshing insight of classic series and movies that take me back in time. This podcast brings back all the nostalgia. I love the extra laughs I get too. They do an amazing job. One of my favorite podcasts. Ooh. That gave me all the feelings, Rob.
Yeah, that was really nice. Thank you so much for that review. And again, we welcome other feedback and, on Apple and Spotify. But yes, thank you so much for sending that review.
Thank you. And thank you for letting us know that we're doing something right.
It's about speed, strength, size, and skill. In the battle to save the world.
If my $20 billion are not delivered, the hostages will die.
These heroes
We're coming!
will go all the way.
We'll have to do better than that. Okay.
Jean-Claude Van Damme, Raul Julia.
No!
Street Fighter, rated PG-13, starts Friday at theaters everywhere.
This week's movie is Street Fighter from 1994. It is described as, in the midst of a civil war in Southeast Asia, a general intensifies the climate of violence by kidnapping 63 UN delegates. To free the hostages, a colonel leads a group of fighters who will have to use all their skills to be successful. Is this what happened in the movie? Is that what happened?
This is what happened. Yeah.
Was it 63 UN delegates?
I'm sure if somebody counted, they would count 63.
Meanwhile, the location of the 63 hostages remains unknown.
In our journey with video game movies, this is definitely a movie that people love, but it's also known as one of the worst, but it's so bad that it's good.
Do people love it or do people love to hate it?
I think it's both, actually. I think if you have really fond nostalgia of, seeing this and getting into it, you love it. If not, like you just said, it's like almost, it's so bad that you're laughing or you're just in on it. So what do you think about this movie off the bat?
So for me, watching it, over the years, I've seen it a handful of times, and I think each time that I watch it, I have a better understanding that I feel like they knew that they were in on it. I feel that they were in on it.
I hope.
Each time it just, I don't know, I feel that this movie was catering to a specific audience because of how silly the game is in a way. And we'll talk about that a little later because I do have a question about that. But They could have portrayed this a lot more serious. I think the director just maybe had it in his head that if we were to make this PG-13, it needs to be this wacky, silly, not so serious film that just incorporates a lot of the Easter eggs and things that you would see in the game.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that this movie definitely is something that you have to compare. It's really hard to look at this movie as an individual. There's so many elements from other video game movies and other video games that this movie has, and for some reason, it's hard not to look in comparison of like, you could have been this movie, you could have had this, just like the other movie did. There was just so many opportunities, and this was a very specific choice. I personally don't mind this movie, and that's due to the actors who committed to their roles, in my opinion. I'm sure they all read this and was like, what are we doing? But they really committed to the best of their ability, and I love that. And just the idea of them trying to get all the likenesses down, I thought was really good too.
Yes.
But I mean, this is not a go-to for me. I don't think I'll be watching this movie at all unless we are reviewing it for this show. So if another anniversary comes in and we do a revamp and see how it is now, like
yeah.
I think that's probably the next time that I'll watch it, but I have no disrespect for this. I think this movie needed to be made. It was impossible not to be made. But
yes,
we'll get more into that. What do you think about this movie?
So I have, based off what you said, I have so many things in my head that I found out that link to things that you're saying. So we will get into it. But I totally agree. I think it's the same thing, Rob. I saw it a handful of times and did not see this in the movies.
Oh, I saw this at the theaters, yeah.
Oh, so that's an experience I can only imagine. But I always remember loving what you said, the costumes, and seeing these characters that at the time, Street Fighter 2 was the one. I feel like that was the game of the time, much like our Mortal Kombat that we just did. I agree. I am not going to seek this movie out, but there are parts of it, and especially like the iconic line that we use in our summer theme with Bison and things like that. I love moments of it.
This is the collection agency, Bison. Your ass is 6 months overdue, and it's mine.
But I have to say, after now watching this 2.5 times, because I keep forgetting what the hell happened, I get it. I get why people would love this. So, were you a fan of the game?
Oh, definitely. I played this game so much, and this is one of the games that would trigger me. Like, I would get frustrated, Matt. I even threw my controller at my TV because I felt the AI was just messing with me. They would not let me win for anything, any move I tried to make. It was always blocked. It was always countered. This game would frustrate me, but I had such a passion to beat it so many times. And it was just so annoying. I hated this game, but I love this game. Yes, it's definitely one of the games that I played a lot.
And I want to say, you mentioned in our Mortal Kombat episode again, it was Chun-Li you like to play as?
Yeah, I would do Chun-Li, and I would do Ryu, and God, there was one other person that I did all the time. I can't remember. It'll probably pop up during this review, but I think maybe Cammy was another one.
Cammy, yes. It was Blanka for me. You know I have a thing for like monsters, I guess, and creatures.
Yeah.
So just that, and he was, I feel like he wasn't green then. He was kind of like a yellowish color. He was
well,
like
I mean, you could change
color.
You can change the outfits and the colors all the time in the game. So
that's true.
That's true,
especially if you're 2 against 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so to get into the movie, this might explain things. The director and the writer went to Capcom. Capcom wanted everything. They wanted every reference to the game, every character that they had at that point. And the writer-director, supposedly Radical Ones, I'm going by the research, so not quote by quote, but he basically said to them, can you name the 7 dwarfs?
Who, me?
No,
I was like, oh my god. Okay, so you're asking.
Put Rob on the spot.
Oh my god. Like, wow, I have to like think.
So this is good though. So in that way, he asked Capcom, can you name them? And he goes, okay, no. People can't handle more than 7 characters.
Okay, that's fair.
7, evidently. Magic formula. the 7 wonders, blah, 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 this. He gave all the examples. So he said 7 characters only. Capcom agreed and then went back on everything little by little. So this was a struggle. They shot in Thailand, Rob. People got sick. Crew and cast went to the Thai massage parlors and didn't even show up for work half the time. And this is the best. This might explain everything. Jean-Claude Van Damme revealed that later he had a drug problem, which we all knew about.
Yes.
But this is crazy. During the movie, 10,000 worth of cocaine a week during the filming, had an affair with Kylie Minogue.
Stop it.
Which you could tell Van Damme is that guy, Rob. You could tell that he was after probably every woman
Kylie,
on set.
why did you fall for it, though?
Well, in the movie, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, look.
Oh, yes.
Man, I was waiting. See, okay, I'm gonna tangent. But see, this is one of the things that was missing was that they were supposed to fight each other, and they didn't find enough reasons to do that.
No,
Chun-Li and Cammy could have fought for the honor of Guile, and Cammy could have been like, "That's my man, bitch," and like they could have had a duel.
Pigtails. Look who's talking.
She got him behind the scenes, evidently.
I could tell she was jealous at the end of that.
Did you? Okay, I was noticing that the end when Chung-Li, they go on their date and he goes, I want you to wear that. First off, the accent the whole entire time, Rob.
Yeah.
Oh, I want you to wear that outfit. I'm like, okay, Cammy, I see you, Kylie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, by the way, Rob, she was only cast and added because they had to switch from Thailand because of those problems to Australia, and Australia said you have to use an actor from Australia, and Kylie was of course a pop star but also a soap actress, so there you go. So we got Cammy. But the drugs probably explain a lot. And Van Damme, Rob, he basically either didn't show up when he was supposed to, late. They had to choreograph everyone's own fight, by the way. He had to do his own moves. He had to show all the other actors because people died. The script was changed day of. The actors had to learn fighting, script pages. So add this all together. Somehow we got a cohesive movie.
This is Chung-Li Zan with GNT News. AN forces are consolidating their hold on Shadaloo City today after a night of skirmishing that secured this key Southeast Asian port. But these soldiers aren't celebrating just yet. They know that defeating the ragtag city militia is one thing. Defeating the heavily armed forces of General M. Bison is quite another.
It's long, I feel like.
The story is a little like stretched, I feel. There was fighting, but there wasn't a lot of like the Street Fighter fighting thing. So yeah, there was a lot of story. There was definitely a lot of character development. There was a lot of backstory with some of them that I didn't feel I needed, but it is what it is.
What do you think about adding things like Chung-Li and her team of reporters, journalists / undercover?
Yeah, these were backstories to give them all a reason to hate this man and to also be in the same place, and so it just made sense. I don't know how accurate they were about depicting who was a good character versus bad. I think they literally just did a shuffle and just rolled the dice and it just landed in the places that they were. But there was little small things where everybody sort of listed why they wanted Bison gone, and there you have it. That was it. There were definitely people I saw as bad in the video game versus the movie, and some of them matched, but some of them I was like, I don't get this, but okay,
to go back to our cast. Now, famously, of course, we mentioned Van Damme, but we get Ming-Na Wen, who, oh my god, she's on a roll now. She's been in Star Wars lately, and she is just on a roll. Of course, I love her from Mulan.
Yeah.
I think her most famous probably would be like ER and Joy Luck Club.
Yeah, Joy Luck Club. She was pretty big in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so, I mean, she keeps it geeky.
Yes,
she's great.
I love her in this. And I actually say her backstory is, of course, in the most powerful scene, would you say? And her reaction is perfect to, the delivery of that. Okay, we mentioned Kylie Minogue. She looks like Cammy. So, I mean, besides the personality, I guess, of just, yes, sir.
She landed that rough kick line.
Oh,
so good.
That was so funny, though.
But that's her thing. That's her thing.
We have Byron Mann as Ryu, and oh my god, they stripped that man down, and I said, thank you, woman.
I want to say he's in his 50s now, maybe even 60. I just looked him up yesterday. I could not believe how great he still looks at his age. And he keeps showing up and stuff all the time. He's 56. And he keeps showing up and stuff. And I think he's a known villain now. Like most of the time when he gets casted now, he is such the bad guy. But man, did he look good in this. He was amazing in this. I loved him. I loved Ryu in this movie. He was the voice of reason. Oh my god, I really enjoyed seeing Ryu in this.
Speaking of Ryu, you usually think of Ken, and Ken does not look like who you would expect Ken to look like. This is Damian Chapa. What do you think about Ken? He's handsome, but he's not what you think
Ken
of.
Is Ken, and I think it makes sense to make Ken and Ryu like besties.
Yeah, I like that.
Two peas in a pod. I mean, their fighting style in the game were very, very similar, so it made sense for them to know each other and hang out throughout the whole movie. I mean, if their chemistry didn't work, this movie would have fell apart.
We're different. Can we please leave?
Their plot of redeeming themselves and stuff like that from being criminals, and then the whole I did like that whole part of it. We also get, oh my god, this is Blanka, who looks like a treasure troll. Rob, the hair and the nose that they gave him was not Blanka that I am thinking of.
Well, yeah, I definitely want to get into that with you regarding their looks, but
oh my god,
Charlie. So you are Guile's friend. Take him to the laboratory.
The character itself, unfortunately, was sort of wasted, and the only thing I wrote down is they used to have this small play at Disneyland that tells the story about how Steve Rogers got the serum and all of that stuff. But they cast this guy who, has a decent, muscular body, and he gets into the thing, and it's a stage play, they don't have special effects or anything. So they do the whole serum thing, and he comes out and he's literally the same body type. Like, he's not bigger. They don't cast a different person. And you're supposed to be like super impressed and be like, oh my God, he's such a, and I'm like, no, the dude is the exact same size. But with that being said, in comparison, I'm just like, this monitor showed him getting bigger and bigger, and they open it up and it's still the same, like, flat chested dude. And I was just like, what is happening? I don't get it.
Not even a pad, Rob. Not even a padding.
But
that was so disappointing. That was so disappointing.
I will say that, yeah, Blanka again had no business being done the way that it was. But Guile, when I really don't understand why he would literally go on broadcast and be like, Charlie, I'm coming for you. Charlie, I'm coming. Don't worry, Charlie. Just Charlie. Let me tell you my best friend's name so you can use him to get back at me. You totally just gave him Charlie's life. I don't understand why he said that.
If my $20 billion are not delivered by then, the hostages will die, and the world will hold you responsible. Victory!
You hostages, if you can hear me, we're coming! We're coming! Charlie, hang on, buddy. We're coming! Hang on.
He said a lot of things which crazy.
You
Rob.
never give up your loved ones in a hostage situation. Can you explain to me why he needed to hear those words? I'm sure Charlie has enough thick skin to understand
like, thanks
that
a lot.
somebody is going to come rescue him. He is. I just can't believe that's how he was written. And so they're like, "Ooh, look at this!" And Charlie was about to die at this. I just love the timing of it all. It's so ridiculous.
It was the drugs, Rob. It was the drugs. It was that cocaine.
I just hate that bit of writing. I can't believe he outed him like that. This is because I think of like Die Hard, when the last thing McClane wanted was to find out that his wife was in the room the whole time. Therefore, game over. Wife taken hot. Like, why would you give up his name? It was the weirdest thing. And also, it's like, oh, again, I'll go back to my catchphrase, F my drag. Like, oh, yeah. I'm not important. It's all about Charlie. That's the only one you want to save is just him, not me. Like, what? I didn't get that.
If that is not the truth, if that was not the truth.
I thought that was so messed up.
They're in the middle of a world war or whatever the case is. And you do have Guile saying things like, your balls.
Colonel, have you lost your mind?
No. You've lost your balls.
Everything was balls. Did you notice that? He had a thing with balls continuously. Balls, balls, balls.
So no, that's exactly what he wants.
No, T-Hub. That's what we balls want. Am I right?
Raul Julia as M. Bison.
Killed it.
What a performance.
I love this. This man was psychotic. He was giving face. The man definitely looked like a dictator. The speeches. He was giving Gomez. Gomez was giving these speeches.
Yes, he was.
It was just so good. Raul Julia killed this.
The temple above us was the wonder of the ancient world. Bisonopolis shall be the wonder of my world. But I think the food court should be larger. All the big franchises will want in.
Like, he committed. I don't know if he was mocking the script or whatever. I don't care what it was, but the man committed. He was psycho crazy.
And now this has become one of those film legends. They said it's they don't know what part is real or what part is not. But of course, he knew he was dying basically at this time.
Yeah.
And he supposedly took this because it was his kid's favorite video game.
That's amazing. And I want you to say that louder for the people in the back, because I think sometimes we give these actors way too much credit. And you're just like, why would they pick a film like this? You're better than this. And it's just like, it's not about you. Sometimes they do it for their kids. And, you look at actors like Adam Sandler and Eddie Murphy, who had this very big rated R, very heavy comedy background where everybody loved them. And then all of a sudden it's about the kids.
Daddy daycare.
Yeah. Tim Burton gets a lot of flack for this. And it's like, they're doing it for themselves. It's for their children. It's so they can watch them on screen. And I don't hate him for that. So I didn't even know that. And I'm glad that that's what it was, because a lot of people expected a bit of a high caliber with him, but it's like, no, I want to do this for my child. They want me to. I love that.
And if it was his last movie, which it ended up being, it was a legacy, and he does uplift this movie. So yeah, we got to thank him for this, because when you pair him and Van Damme, it's like two complete different acting styles, of course. Oh my God. I don't even know if Van Damme is acting. I feel like they just put him in there and they're like, act tough and, randomly say some crap at the camera.
Well, I'm not going home. I'm gonna get on my boat and I'm going upriver and I'm going to kick that son of a bitch Bison's ass so hard that the next Bison wannabe is gonna feel it. Now, who wants to go home? And who wants to go with me?
I mean, I would say that there were a few moments where I think his comedic timing worked. One scene in particular is it was towards the end and he was fighting a group of, the red soldiers or whatnot. And they're all cornering him with guns and he pulls out a knife. And then all of a sudden they all cower and back up and he thinks he's hot shit.
Yeah,
right? He's just like, oh yeah, I got these. And then he realized it was because his people were there. And he just had this look on his face like, oh, what a moment. I'm so embarrassed. I can't believe I thought it was me. And there's just little stuff like that I thought actually was pretty good.
What about when he's alive at the end and he comes out and he does that like chin thing to Kylie?
I know.
So cheesy. Oh my god, though.
Lieutenant, make a note. I need a vacation.
Yes, sir. Tear gas, sir. On the way out.
But it's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, we get our Miguel Jr. in this.
I love Miguel. Oh.
General, they're tracing this.
Miguel he's such a sport.
He steals the show, though. Like
he's such a sport. He's definitely our comic relief, I think, for sure.
And he plays DJ. Now, there's one moment when his accent disappears.
Yes, I was going to bring that up.
DJ, has the AN deposited the 20 billion in my Swiss bank?
Hell no, General.
So are we to assume, is it a joke, like he's been playing this the whole time? Or is he really, or is that just like a moment of breaking the fourth wall kind of?
I feel that it's a little bit of the latter. So for me, I kind of associate that specific scene with Spaceballs. How
yeah, I could see that.
I don't care what era, what genre, what fantasy world you're in, black people are gonna black people. They're just gonna be black. And the responses of both parts in these two movies was so black, like there's just no way to escape it. And you know what scene I'm talking about. For me, it was the scene where M. Bison, says, DJ, check the account, see if my money was deposited.
Well, that's number one. That is for sure.
When it was deposited. And then he looked and it said zero, and he was like, hell no. And I was like, you can't help but be black in that moment. So that's just how I saw it. And it's the same with Spaceballs. Like, you just have to respond in that way, regardless of the way people speak around you. To me, I feel that was a little bit of the break the fourth wall. Like, you just can't help but bring it out of you.
And it's one of the best moments to me.
Yeah, it was so good. It was so good.
General, something very strange on the river. 2 of our radar stations just went down.
Go to visual.
Especially, again, comparing him to Bison and how serious he is into his craziness. Of course they didn't bring the money.
But, I mean, I can tell the director and team did not play this game because they were like, DJ ain't fighting. We have no idea what this man does. Who picks DJ to fight? So we're not even going to bother giving him his signature move. It's ridiculous. But he didn't get one fight scene at all. It's just like, okay, sure. But I love that he was the tech guy. He was one of the smartest ones in the room, I guess.
Yeah, he was. To me, yeah, he was the smart one in that. The other characters we get are, Vega. I always loved Vega because of the look, the mystique.
The next fight! The challenger! Raul! The defender! My champion! Vega!
I always forget the thing is supposed to be that he's so beautiful.
He, I think, was one of the best likenesses that they portrayed on here. Yeah. And all of his signature moves, even the flip and the raise of the hand when he would win, like all of that was in there. His ego, his vein really portrayed him very well. I envisioned him taller, of course, because he wasn't as muscular. He was more of a slimmer, sort of swimmer's build type of guy, if I can remember correctly. This guy seemed very short and just thick and beefy. But other than that, I found him to be a wonderful likeness to the character. So they did a good job with him. His mask was on point. His weapon, I thought all of that was great.
Those ladies that came in with the grandioso, with the pillow and everything. And then we get E. Honda.
E. Honda.
He's
Love
fun.
It. He's great.
Fun. You're Edmund Honda, the sumo from Hawaii. You almost made Yokozuna.
Until the Shadaloo Tong destroyed my reputation.
They did the same thing to me in my boxing career.
Don't tell me.
Figure skating.
And that line, Rob, I had to write it down. Did you hear this line? They're locked up.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a hand.
Yep.
And he says, we've only been in jail for 2 hours, maybe next month.
I was like, not a hand job joke. I did never notice that before.
Never in my life.
Yeah.
And okay, his breaking point is next month. Hey.
Honda, give me a hand.
We've only been in jail 2 hours. Maybe next month.
Give me a hand, fool.
Hey, but here's the thing. I feel like they are the type of homies that would do that for each other, to be honest. And I'm sorry for whoever's listening, that exists. It exists. Happy Pride Month. Sorry, I'm going to bring it up. The homies do that kind of stuff for each other. It's just in the code. So sorry, it's not just a gay thing.
And the other character is Balrog?
Balrog. Yeah, Balrog. Yes.
I will not pronounce the name right.
I believe he's American, but yes, our boxer, gets some time. He gets the cool sound effects with his punches.
Got that hair. They try to give him like the video game cut.
Yeah.
Buzz.
He's somebody that I feel would come from like Mike Tyson's Punch Out, but I definitely remember him from the game for sure.
I mean, there's Saget, there's Dulcim. I could never say his name.
Dulcim, yeah.
Dulcim.
Dr. Dulcim, how is your research today?
The same. Warped, corrupted, my science twisted to serve perversion instead of peace.
Tell you what, after I've crushed my enemies, we'll see about getting you published. That should cheer you up.
Yeah. Who has hair, Rob?
Mm-hmm.
And did you notice at the end, all of a sudden, he has no hair for the last?
Yeah, because he got messed up with the chemicals as well, so he lost all of his hair.
Oh, so they're setting up a sequel? No,
well, I mean, I don't. It's whatever. But I mean, if you want to get into this, I kind of just want to say, unfortunately, like as the movie gets older, the likenesses of these characters, I think, were very colorful. It was very like they really tried to adapt all of what they saw in the video game into their likenesses. I totally get that. But unfortunately, they all look very cosplay. Like these are all Halloween costumes. They are dressing up and playing pretend. They did not feel authentic to the game. But here's the thing. This also, to me, kind of explains why the movie is just so silly. There's something about the video game that I feel comes from a very like mocking point of view. In a way that, just with the sound effects of when they die, it's like the just little stuff like that. And there's also the characteristics of them all, especially Guile with his very high and very flat, wide, flat top on his head. We didn't get that, but it's all very cartoonish, right?
Truly.
I don't know. There was just something, again, just by the way the music and how bright it was. There wasn't really a lot of seriousness when it came to this game. And so I feel maybe this is why it was portrayed to be such a heavy, zany, slapstick sort of fighting movie. And the costumes, to me, I just think were a little lazy. It just felt very costumey. They had the look right. It didn't feel like it was part of their persona as it was in the video game. And one example is whom I think T-Hawk.
Oh yeah,
I don't understand why they decided to put a headband on him and call it T-Hawk. That was it. And then they threw in this line as if he's never worn. He says he wears it every time he goes out to battle, and this is the first time they've ever noticed him wearing it. But it was just that whole exposition of like, I've got the headband on now, so I'm now T-Hawk. But if you look at, do you remember what T-Hawk looks like in the video game?
Yeah,
the man's bigger than Hulk. Like he is gigantic, and they just got this white dude to wear a headband and call it a day. Like it was going to be very difficult for them to adapt these characters.
I thought 100% Native American.
He was Native American. But I just don't see how they were going to successfully portray each character to their exact counterpart. Sagat was a gigantic, he was tall, scars all over his body. He was not somebody to mess with. He looked real good in the game, and in this one they just made him a blundering con artist.
Bon voyage, Sagat. Enjoy the sea air.
Move it in there. This isn't over, Guile. I own this city.
Well, I'm the Reaper Man.
and you're out of business.
You know, and this goes to with Ken and the blonde hair and, you know, all of that stuff. Like, it just didn't give us, they just put him in costumes. It was like, there you have it. There's your character. But I will say this, my favorite, and he is basically MVP for me. I feel like 100% this man never got out of character, and he had almost the least amount of lines than anyone, and that's Zangief.
I see you later. In the commissary, yeah?
Zangief was 100%, in my opinion,
yeah,
everything that was embodied by this character. Like, aside from the drawn stitches all over his body, you know, obviously you don't want to give him real stitches, but like...
Not on that body, no.
The chest hair, the body, the build, the acting, like, just the Russian Soviet thing, like, everything about Zangief was 100% on point, and his lines were great, even though
my God, he was so funny.
Even though he's portrayed as dumb, he still came off as a threat to me. And then also the glow up of him changing sides, like, he's the most improved in my opinion too. I just like everything about Zangief, I think in this movie was done so well.
He didn't know he was supposed to be paid, and he didn't know he was on the bad side. That was so funny.
DJ! Why are you out of uniform? The enemies of peace and freedom are at our walls!
Are you totally demented, man? Our boss is the enemy of freedom and peace. These people have come from all over the world to stop him. If you're smart, you'll save your own ass.
General Bison, he's a bad guy. If you know this, then why do you serve him?
Because he paid me a freaking fortune, you moron.
You got paid?
If you were to watch this movie again, just watch him. Even in the background, the man doesn't let it go one bit. Committed the whole time. I just thought it was great casting. He did a great job, I thought.
That actor evidently turned out to be Leatherface in the Chainsaw Massacre remake.
Oh, it was him, wasn't he?
Yeah, Andrew something.
But he's definitely been in some stuff. He's been in a lot of great stuff.
Another show stealer.
He was also, oh my God, he was in Scooby-Doo.
Oh, the movie?
Yeah, he was in the movie.
He a wrestler?
Yeah, he must have been. Oh my God, he was in Rollerball. I don't think I've ever seen that movie. Yeah, okay. I got it. Oh, Batman Returns. That's amazing.
Now that you're just speaking of the costumes, it's to me, Chung-Li in red just throws me off.
It does. I mean, her outfit is so iconic. There was no excuse not to give her the specific outfit that she got, you know?
Everyone knows blue. Blue is Chung-Li. I mean, I get it. No, actually, I don't get it. Actually, because everyone else looked like their colors, basically. Yeah.
Bison's the god. All your weapons of death are going to be blown sky high.
To go back to her scene that we mentioned earlier, where she has been captured now. She's been undercover, right? There's costume changes. They do this whole thing that they explode a whole section of weapons and things like this. She gets captured and she's trying to tell M. Bison that whole thing. And he underestimates her. And I love this whole scene because she goes, that's exactly what I wanted you to think. And she breaks those cuffs with this sound effects that she makes, and she flies and kicks him.
You see, no one has ever seen you in combat. You always hid behind your sumo and your boxer. Why? Since you entered this country, you never even threw a single punch. No, my dear. I know women. And you are harmless.
That's exactly what I wanted you to think.
I love that part.
Yeah,
so much.
She did some signature stuff. Too bad we didn't get to see the rapid kick at some point. But yes, there were definitely some moves that were from the game that she incorporated in this, and she definitely had the upper hand. It just sucks that she was distracted. I don't know why she took her eyes off of him. Like, end it. If you're gonna end it, end him. Just like get it over with. But that scene was great.
And of course, it's the most memorable, like we mentioned. He says it was a Tuesday for him. It's a Friday for us.
Oh, right.
It's
I thought that line was great. Bison also had that wonderful line where we find out that Guile's alive and that Ken and Ryu didn't kill him, and he goes, "Oh, I guess you didn't see that.
I guess you didn't see that, did you?"
That was amazing
and ad-libbed.
Now
by
that's
the way.
You're kidding.
Yeah,
oh,
in the
I
research.
love that. In the theaters, the audience went crazy over that line. We were laughing so hard when he said that because it was just one of those like momentary, like really great written. Well, I shouldn't say written because it was ad lib, but like out of the whole dialogue of the movie, this was a gem. Like you could not top that. That was such a good line. But yeah, the audience went crazy when I saw the movies. It was funny.
Love it. So he brought even one of the best moments to the movie again. By the way, it was written in a night, Rob, because the writer director had to secure the job before some person from Capcom went back to Japan, so he wrote it in a night.
Wow.
But hey, Capcom went with it
They
to be
did.
released for Christmas 1994. Maybe that's why I didn't see it. I think because it was at Christmas time, but
yeah, that's called loyalty. I mean, Capcom definitely put their logo in this movie. Did you see it on the barrel? And just like Bison's desk, his floating desk had the whole arcade
which
setup
is funny,
on there.
right? It had the arcade thing.
Yeah, so Capcom doubled down on this, and good for them for standing by it.
And then we get game over.
Yeah,
with that voice like that.
Game over!
I wrote those cape flips because he threw cape so well. And that's when he was having fun with the role, really getting into that over-the-top villain.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize this, Rob, that during the initial run, because he had just passed away about 6 months after this was done filming, they took out the Skeletor-esque "I'll be back" because there's a hand that will break through.
I remember that.
And it's added in for the home footage. But he presses a retry or a redo of this whole total world domination thing. So they were hoping for, I guess. I mean, it did well money-wise, but...
Yeah.
You have made me a happy man.
Next, I'll make you a dead one.
This was crazy. They actually thought 2003 they were going to make a sequel. Street Fighter 2. Rumored cast included Van Damme, Dolph Lundgren, and Holly Vallis, who I saw was in that Dead Alive that you love. She was one of the leads in that.
I wanted to bring up some sort of controversial or just things that kind of stood out to me. Amongst all the silliness, this movie got serious for a second, and I wanted to get your opinion about it. This is when Guile finds out about Charlie. He comes in to rescue him.
Yeah.
And he realizes that Charlie has obviously changed. And it did not take this man but 2 seconds,
if even,
to pull out a gun and quote unquote in his misery, and I will avenge them for you.
What have they done to you? Charlie.
Me? They've done to me. Help me! Help me!
I'll help you.
Help me!
I'll help you. And then I'll make them pay.
No. You have no right.
You didn't even give him a chance.
I don't know if this is the military way or if Guile wanted to get rid of his guilt. Like, I don't want any evidence that I failed, right? Not to the public, but even to himself. But like, maybe he just didn't even want to look at this man's face forever and have to be responsible for him. I don't know what it was, but do you feel that he was doing that for Charlie or for himself?
I'll give the character the benefit of the doubt he was doing it for Charlie, but I don't even think it was 2 minutes. He had a hand on the holster probably as soon as he saw him. He was just like, Charlie, I'm going to avenge you. And Charlie's just like, oh, no. Yeah. He was saying something, but there was no question, not Charlie, do you want to live?
Well,
Nothing.
Charlie is like, can you help me? Help me. That's what he was saying. Help me. Like he was feeling very defenseless. And the only way this military man can help somebody is just put them out of their misery. I don't know. I felt a really heavy kind of way about that. Is that really the American way, is just to be like, you can't provide to society, bam, we're just gonna kill you and I'll make sure to avenge you. Like, dude, no, like, I didn't ask you to do that.
Thank you so much.
What the hell? But then we get to the end and he's like, I'm just gonna kill myself, I'm gonna die, not like, I don't want to go out into the world like this. And it's just like, no, that's not the message I want in this. I don't know, I just felt that was kind of wrong, that Blanka just doesn't deserve to live based on how he looked. I mean, especially if he retained a bit of his humanity.
Yes, thanks to the program.
Yeah, I don't see him as a threat to anyone, which couldn't, with time, he could fix himself back to, to the best of his ability. Dalsum, at the other hand, was just like, I need to pay my penance. Like, I did some evil in the world and I need to just be punished.
But even Van Damme was like, you said you did not do nothing. Like,
yeah.
We have to go. This whole place is gonna go up.
I can't go back, my friend. Don't like this.
30 seconds to superconductor
Surely.
film meltdown.
Don't worry, he will not be alone. I must atone for my part in this evil.
You said you did nothing.
20 seconds.
If good men do nothing, that is evil enough.
But I do like what he says afterwards. Doing nothing is the same as being just as evil. I mean, that is said within all types of bullying or, witnessing, just bad things happening. You do nothing, you're just as bad as the perpetrator. So I get that. Do you deserve to die for it? I mean, it'd be different if the hostages died, but like, yeah, I just
the hostages, yes, the 63.
Yeah,
yes.
I just didn't feel that was reason enough to kill him. So
no, the two moments were just, I think the second part was just to wrap them up and just get rid of those two characters. But why? At that point, they could have had the full roster at the end, in that moment, that iconic moment. And the whole thing with him ready to kill Charlie, giving up the name on the news, like you mentioned, and then following it up with this. Like, if Charlie was saying it himself, like, kill, okay, that's a different thing. It's like you're in the zombie apocalypse. No, okay, yeah, that was just a weird moment. But I think it's an old school kind of war movie, because I think they thought they were making a war movie too at the same time with this.
Yeah,
so
it could be. Yeah.
CQ, this is Guile.
Cammy here. Colonel, are you alright?
I'm okay. I'm just half dead.
And Bison?
All dead. What's the situation?
Fighting in every corridor, sir.
What about our reserves? Have they arrived yet?
The water's reinforcements are still hitting the beachhead. They have their hands full with the enemy outside the fortress.
Did you notice when Cammy does her signature flip? Did you see our beautiful stunt double in
I was wondering. I was like, is she gonna do that stunt? No,
no, she did not do it. She tried
did the voiceover. No. Just to that point, wouldn't you have wanted more street fighting?
Yes. I wish that I could remember sort of the dialogue in between fights. You know how they would set up fight, and I don't know if there was any coherent story being told throughout all that, but it would have been great to have some duels or some one-on-ones and just, I mean, it's a fighting game, right? So you can't really do with it in an adventure-like thing.
For something, you're right. Each one is competing for some reason.
Yeah. So I guess I shouldn't complain that there wasn't too many like one-on-one stuff, because it's not Mortal Kombat. Like, that was specific, but it just would have been nice to have more of this butting heads of fighting and then joining together. But there was just a lot of dialogue and catch them and arrest them and blah blah blah, and there wasn't enough fighting within each other before they all banded together to get the other side, like, it would have been nice to do that.
To your point, Rob, had they done it when they were still quote unquote enemies, you could still have the characters fighting and then becoming friendly at the end and joining together. So yeah, there's so many missed opportunities.
But I will say that once once they got to the the lair and they all started fighting, they were all pairing off and doing all of that was great. Like that at that point of the movie, like it was wonderful. I
What
thought
is it, the last 20, you would say, probably? The last 20 minutes of the movie?
Guile did his spin kick, like all of
that looked great.
All of the moves started to come out, Ken and Ryu together fighting, and he even did a little bit of his, like there was a little bit of the sound effects. There was like a burst of light, but you still didn't know.
But then there was supernatural elements, but then there wasn't too. It was odd. I don't know. Maybe they would have went full supernatural in the next.
Yeah. But yeah, more of the catchphrases were coming out. Dalsum unfortunately did not get to stretch his skin, but it is what it is.
He lost hair,
he looked the part, right? So that's why to me it just felt very Halloween-y. It was just very
the chains around his neck. That was
part of his thing.
Luckily, Bison has driven me crazy. So I'm gonna do it.
I don't know if a kid would even like this today, to be honest. Unless they grew up on the game, I just don't see anyone sort of adapting to this type of movie that doesn't really have too much fighting to begin with. But it's fun in its own merit. That's the thing. I think because the game is a little bit silly, in my opinion, the movie just sort of followed suit with that.
Hey, easy man. That's me severance pay.
Right, it's not Mortal Kombat. It was always more colorful, and totally agree. So the movie went from an R rating, Rob, and then it was cut so much it went all the way down to G.
Oh.
And was brought back to a PG-13 by a few lines by Van Damme.
Yeah.
Whatever he was saying. I swear to God, every line he did. I think they took your balls. I laughed so hard over that.
You've lost your balls.
No, I don't take you serious. I don't take you serious. Speaking of that, though, have you ever seen the video to Straight to My Feet, the MC Hammer video with him in it dancing like a crazy person?
I probably have, but I don't remember. But yes, it definitely sounds familiar.
Straight to my feet. When you feel the beat, you gotta move. Straight to my feet. Straight to my feet.
Must have been on the cocaine then too, because he is having the time of his life. Radical ones look for Straight to My Feet.
Now, do you prefer him as Guile, or do you think he would have made a better Johnny Cage?
I'm actually glad he didn't touch Johnny Cage.
Okay, that's fair.
Because I don't think he would, and he would have, forget it. He would have been after Sonya for sure. Poor Sonya. She would have been sort of our Kylie. But honestly, I don't see him as the all-American Guile either.
Yeah.
I don't know what I picture him as. Not that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the time, like he was all about the movies that he was in. It was all action, it was all fight. He was definitely a leading man at the time. It made sense. Did you like the idea that the movie was focused on Guile? I always thought that Ryu was our main character in the same vein as Liu Kang, but the movie focused more through Guile as our hero. That to me was the last thing I expected, but it should have been the first thing that should have come up, given that this is a US movie.
Totally agree. I thought Ryu was the main character always of Street Fighter, and I get it because he was the main star. But it works, right? Yeah. Because we mentioned earlier, for the people who love it, they love it. Mm-hmm. And of course, my co-host is always famous for saying,
Yeah. No such thing as guilty pleasures, people. Love what you love.
So you love it, and that's all that matters. I had fun. I did have fun rewatching it. I laughed over Van Damme. I'm sorry. I laughed over his dialogue, performance. But I did love the moments of the fun and the game, Rob, that we did get.
We couldn't trace it. He broke off too soon.
You know what? For a minute, you're almost useful.
So along those lines, Radical Ones, Rob, do you have any recommendations for us for this movie?
Rob's recommendations.
Yes, I do. Okay. This was actually a really difficult one to do. But, for those who may have not seen these films, these might be gems to you, so let's get to it. I want to list the movies that I think you should watch if you did enjoy Street Fighter. First one is Spawn.
Okay,
Yes,
I like that
this
movie.
this is the live action one with Michael Jai White and John Leguizamo. I picked this because of the likenesses that were portrayed. They were pretty close to the original without being. I don't know. There's still something very fun and lighthearted about the portrayals of these characters coming from such a dark movie and comic and whatnot. I give it props for that, and I think you'll get the same sort of treatment if you enjoy watching live action portrayals of animated characters. So Spawn, I thought the story brought in more of the military vibe that this movie did, more of the sort of not mobster, but just sort of like espionage, sort of like world domination. So it's sort of the same story, and then you've just got this unsung hero just in the middle of it all, going through it. But if you watch it for any reason, it's John Leguizamo's performance as our evil demon clown. He is just so good at this role, and the special effects, I just thought at the time were fantastic, right?
Especially on his makeup, always looked great.
Yeah. The next film is for you Van Damme fans. I'm recommending Time Cop. Time Cop seems like a film that is just as silly as Street Fighter while still giving you that high octane and hard action. But there's a bit of the fantasy in it too, and it just lets Van Damme be Van Damme, to be honest. I wanted to do Bloodsport because it showcases how great of a fighter Van Damme is, but the fun and fantastical like elements just aren't in this movie. And so I feel if you want something like Street Fighter, like Time Cop is probably the best way to go.
Possibly cocaine as well.
Have you seen Time Cop?
Years ago.
Yeah, it was
years
a while.
ago.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
That's a good one.
It's been a minute. And the last one I want to say, if you enjoyed Street Fighter, is I believe you will definitely enjoy Sylvester Stallone's Judge Dredd.
Oh, yes. That's also been years.
Yeah. Nice portrayal. I prefer the remake, but if you want something like Street Fighter, the original is the best way to go. They concentrate more on likeness rather than actual, like tone of what the comic strip or the previous work did. So Judge Dredd is just like Street Fighter. I think you'll enjoy just as much. The comic is in there. The cast is on point. I think you'll get a lot from Judge Dredd. Now, if you did not like Street Fighter and you want something just a little bit more authentic or possibly just a better portrayal of a story like Street Fighter, I think these movies are a bit better in doing that job correctly. I want to point out the Street Fighter animated movie, the anime. That is how you freaking do Street Fighter. This
came
movie,
out, I think, the same time almost, the original one.
Yes. In fact, there is a ton of movies under this same one storyline. Watch the anime series. It is amazing. It is amazing. The movie is so brilliant. It's drawn very well. It's serious. It just got all the characters doing everything that they're supposed to do. And you got to also wonder is if Street Fighter was ever destined to be a live action movie. I mean, if they are remaking it, I really want them to seriously put all of these effects and their gifts in effect. I want to see it all. And the anime does exactly that. So watch that one instead of the movie. The next one that I'm going to put in is a movie that also stars one of our Street Fighter folks. This has Wes Studi. So Wes Studi was our Sagat.
Yes.
And he kind of came in a little bit late in the movie, but definitely made a stamp with his character. You cannot forget this gun-cutting man from Mystery Men.
I used to love that movie so
You want a ragtag team of people with special abilities and specific, unique signature traits? watch Mystery Men. And a lot of people don't know this, but yes, Sagat was part of the Mystery Men. He was the one that could cut through guns. Yes. So, and then my last one, this movie is just as cheesy as Street Fighter and probably one of the most beloved, hated movies ever, like Street Fighter. But for me, I think this movie did way better what Street Fighter tried to accomplish, and that is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Okay. Well, I love this movie.
I love Temple of Doom so much. And if I ever want to watch something just completely ridiculous, I will forever choose Temple of Doom over Street Fighter any day. Any day.
I'll take the movie too over Street Fighter. I know it's a great movie. And Street Fighter is a fun movie if you enjoy that kind of, and it's a 90s time capsule as always.
Yeah, I'm glad that it exists, for sure. I mean, if anything, for that signature pose at the end was brilliant.
Rob said off camera, he should have been a poster. It would have been so good to have that. And you can't find that image high def anywhere.
Yeah.
I looked.
Yeah.
That was another episode of our podcast and, of course, of the video game summer. So, as we continue, we're going to hit more highs and we're going to hit more lows, I am sure. But each one, fun. So, Rob, when you are not hanging out over here, where can the lovely people find you?
You can follow me at Rob the Movie Geek on Instagram. I do somewhat movie reviews on there. We'll be revamping the page somehow as soon as I figure out what to do with it, but you can look at archive movie reviews that I did in the past, especially this past year where I reviewed every single movie that I watched, whether it was a rewatch or a new one. So yeah, find me there.
And the links will be in the description box below, as well as the Radical Retro Rewind podcast, one word, on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and beyond. Thank you again to our latest reviewer, Lola P92. Thank you.
Thank you.
And of course, if you want to join Lola and help us break that over 20 reviews on Apple, we're still under the 20. If we can get through the 20, that would be amazing. We will be so thrilled. Thank you again, and we will be back for a new episode soon, Radical Ones. Goodbye.
Bye.